I previously hosted an Anarchy multiplayer campaign on my Discord, an event which involved insane amounts of drama, politics, backstabbing, and everything else we all know and love from MP campaigns. Given that it lasted weekly for over 2 months and involved almost 15 sessions, I want to call that one an absolute success. Building upon it now, I would like to introduce the new multiplayer mini-campaign coming to Lemon Cake Discord, The War for Japan, in the Ultimate Thunderdome. It has been substantially tweaked compared to the base game, with rebalanced starts, modifiers for every nation to make the small OPM gaming more enjoyable, and even custom buildings that cost an arm and a leg but provide substantial bonuses. Introducing Sengoku Jidai by Lemon Cake. Let's take a look through the mod now. Right, so here we are, and one of the first things you may notice, actually, apart from the slightly different borders, is going to be this wasteland going pretty much all around the pond. And indeed, this is the box I'm placing you in. But beyond that, indeed, this is going to be the Thunderdome in question. So, one of the first things that you're going to notice when you get into the game is going to be triggered modifiers. Everyone in the Japan area whose capital is in Japan is going to get the national mobilization effect. First of all, it's going to prevent you going over force limit, so this is going to prevent excessive roaching. However, to make up for that, everyone gets +5 base land force limit. This is somewhere near the middle of the list if you look at it now. Regardless, this also gives you -90% construction time. This is because we're going to later introduce some very fancy, great projects to be able to build, costing 1,000 ducats but providing substantial bonuses. Either way, this basically means that you're going to get them out pretty much instantly. But to prevent gigascaling and just AFK and being a very viable strategy, the development cost being increased by 300%. Basically, sitting around and deving is not going to be a valid strategy at all. It's still going to be possible, but around 200 monarch points per click. Yeah, no. It also means that effects like devastation are significantly more painful because you can't just dev click them away. You also have an extra 24 yearly tax income. This basically triples your base income at the start so that you can actually do more things as a small nation. However, this is a Sengoku Jidai period, and so your stability is significantly more painful to spend as well. This is kind of a countermeasure to the whole having spare admin lying around, as you are going to have -75% core creation cost. But basically, stab cost is going to be much more painful. Sorry, Jacko, those stab costs are going to hurt you extra hard. Furthermore, everyone has their manpower increased by 20,000 compared to the base 10k, meaning that every nation recovers around 300 men a month for existing. You have significantly reduced that attrition -33%, and war exhaustion ticks down very aggressively. To also promote more aggressive gameplay, core creation cost is reduced by 75%, which also affects core creation time. And the reinforcement cost for your troops to encourage you fighting is -25%. Now, all the fancy buildings I've added count as manufactories, and because I don't want you to conceptually feel like you're limited by only having to build one, I've pretty much removed the manufacturer limit for you guys. Build as many as you want. So that's why the bottom number of manufacturers +99 is there as well. Now, this isn't the only triggered modifier. Because the nations we are placing in this box, as it were, are going to be limited to Japan, there are going to be 3 AI factions ripe for invasion if you want to do so. The first of them is going to be none other than everyone's favorite, Ryukyu, who now has 30 development to make them much more of a prize to invade, as well as for a country like So, who's going to go Pirate Republic most likely, they're going to be able to raid the coast and make absolute bank of that. 30 ducats just in So, beautiful. Now, Ryukyu, to make them more defensible, shall we say, is going to actually start with +20 force limit and -90% land maintenance modifier. So invading Ryukyu will be quite a project, but at least it comes with 30 development for you to pick up from that. It's also no longer a min tributary, so no need to worry about that. It is basically just a sitting duck for your invasion. Enjoy. With that said, let's move on to Korea. Korea is a bit more different. So again, it no longer has the Ming tributary mechanic, and so Ming won't be coming to save them, but to kind of model the fact that Ming would be coming to save them, they have some substantial buffs. Or debuffs, however you want to phrase it. So they start with the Korean resistance and isolationism. This is a triggered modifier only if your capital is in the Korea region. Now, what this actually does is going to be that they can't build buildings and can't declare war, so no need to worry about Korea declaring war on you, and also their trade power is reduced by 200%, meaning that anyone trying to build around trade or trying to dominate the one trade node we own, which by the way has no incoming or outcoming trade, Nippon just sits on its own now, no need to worry about that. Basically, Korea will never compete with trade for you. However, to make them significantly harder to invade, they also have the -90% land force limit, as well as coming with an extra 30 land force limit, just base. And in terms of quality modifiers, also have 20 morale of armies and 10 discipline. If you also decide to fight them on their own turf, they have +3 own terrain dice roll bonuses. So it's going to be incredibly painful to invade Korea, but incredibly worth it because the development there is absolutely beautiful. They also don't suffer the +300% development cost that everyone else has, so they're going to be able to dev the land for you to invade. To kind of offset that and to make invading them and governing them more painful, they also have +100% hostile core creation cost, which comes to around +25% compared to the base because you have -75%, which is evident here by the modifiers for the increased hostile core creation cost. So that's something to bear in mind. Invading Korea will definitely be a project where if 5 of 6 of you want to work together and invade Korea together, you absolutely can, but bear in mind, splitting up the spoils of war might be challenging. Korea also doesn't actually start with that big of an army, 14k, so the start might be a good time to invade, but they are going to build up to force limits, so bear that in mind. As best as they can, of course, they're still going to be AI. Another less concerning target to invade is actually going to be Ainu. Now, this island, of course, no longer exists. The Kuril Islands have been kind of moved down into here to model them, and I didn't want to extend this to be that big and annoying. And the Sakhalin Island has been cut down in half even more and just moved down into the box, basically. So they're still all entirely contained within this box, but the 5 Ainu provinces of 3 development are all here. They do not have the Japanese shogunate protection, so they don't have the shogun reforms or anything of that nature. They are, ironically enough, a Siberian native council, but their capital is in the Japan region, meaning that they still at least get the national mobilization, so they can field somewhat of an army, although they are still going to struggle to pay for it and afford it. I mean, it's AI, so it's still going to be quite an invadable target, but an option to pick it up as well. It's certainly not going to hurt you. Now, there's also been substantial rebalances to Japan itself. If we go to Ashikaga, we can see that Hosokawa has been significantly reduced in size, with a couple of other countries being popped out of them. In fact, every single nation here has at most 2 provinces. I try to keep it as historical as possible, so not popping out too many or creating new nations. But as we can see, for example, in Hosokawa, I did let them keep their cores in their original land. So they have a bit of an ambitious plan moving forward, of course. Having both 2 provinces and 3 cores to go for early, they definitely have a lot to play for here, but they're not substantially stronger than everyone else around them, especially the base bonuses. Another thing that I think is important to talk about, and this is going to be very nice for addressing the whole I can't go over force limit, how am I meant to ever siege a fort? Well, forts now give +1 fort level, not +2. Which decreases their maintenance cost to 0.5. However, also does mean that you can't just build like a level 3 fort. At most, you can get a level 2 without a special project. And this is an excellent time to talk about the special projects, because the manufactories have been buffed and are available from day 1. So the normal manufacturer, which can be built by anyone, now costs 1,000 ducats, but gives you +2 local goods produced, as well as increasing the trade value of the province. An excellent substantial investment for making big money. And that's good, but this is probably the most vanilla-esque manufactory. Because next we have ramparts. Ramparts are going to give you that extra +1 fort level that you're missing, but most importantly, this 1 extra fort level is not going to come with any maintenance. Furthermore, having this rampart fortification is going to give you more domain over local trade, and give you +25 local trade power, which is quite substantial. If we actually take a look at any of these centers of trade, you can see they give you like +10 or +5. In essence, +25 local trade power will let you dominate, for the most part, a lot of this node until more of these ramparts are built. So this could be a decent enough investment early on, but do be careful of diminishing returns building these ramparts. As it were though, the impression offices, I've just buffed them to be more substantial, although again they're whatever, unless you're cell or something, they're not going to be doing too much to you. If we include subjects here, we can see that if we ever do build them on a fancier building, they are still buffed, so the impression office on here is going to give you a lot more setters than before. But that's about that. Next we have our state houses, and because I don't think GovCap is going to be an issue for anyone ever, they now give +5 ICA. Unless they're on paper, glass, or gems. In our case, this applies to not that many paper, glass, or gems provinces. If we don't take a look at trade goods, which are unchanged, there are a couple invadable pieces of paper in Korea, but the main 2 are going to be here. And if we ever try to build it on there, we're going to see that it's going to give 10 ICA. So if a nation is able to control these 2 provinces and build a state house on both of them, well, they're going to have +20% ICA, a very massive bonus for dominating the early game here, especially since all the fighting is happening with samurai and infantry. Finally, soldiers' households. Now also give you local regiment cost and double the manpower they normally do. So if you actually build them on something like grain, they give an insane amount of manpower. Enjoy. But there we go, those are the major projects, and remember you can build as many of them as you want. Furnaces also cost 1,000 because I thought it was funny, but you're not getting to take 21. And also there's like coal. Anyway, I digress. Those are the main changes, as it were. The Sengoku Jidai and all those mechanics are still the same, and I'll be playing as Ashikaga, so I won't be annexing or integrating anyone of any of that nature. To be also clear, I would have started with this province here, and I wanted every province to be played for, so I actually gave the province day 1 to Imigawa. They now have 2 provinces. However, since they're meant to be an OPM, I didn't give Imigawa a core on it day 1, so they're going to have to core it before they get the full value of the provinces. Meanwhile, Yusegi, I've reduced down to 2 provinces as well, because I wanted everyone to be a 2-province major at tops, so 1 province minors and 2 province majors. So, congratulations, Olga Savara, you now have Eshigo, although Yusegi also has a core on it, so they might be coming for it. Good luck. Now let's discuss signups, or how you can actually play for the campaign. The campaign will be taking place on the 29th of December, a bit more of a Christmas-themed Thunderdome in Japan. Who doesn't love it? But it should be outside of Christmas for people. I think it's a relatively nice time in the sense that it is the Christmas period, so people should have it off, but it's not actually Christmas, so I'm not asking you to sacrifice time with your families or whoever you're spending Christmas with. With that said, on Sunday we'll be playing at 7 p.m. in UK time. There will be translations on my Discord, which is where the campaign will be taking place, for localized time inside your time period. This is basically the same time as the Anarchy game, plus 1 hour moved forward. And it's going to be on Sunday, not Saturday, because I've realized I personally have more time on Sunday, and I've realized that, hey, it's my campaign, I can host it whenever I want, so enjoy. But indeed, make sure to come along and give it a sign up. If there are way too many sign-ups again this time around, I will be allowing people to co-op in the sense that, you know, I don't think there's going to be excessive amounts of micro from some guy playing a country with like 5 provinces tops, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue. And it also does mean that if one of you doesn't show, we still have a player in every country. It will be perfect if we have a player in every single country, at least for the day one of the stream, because I think that'll be really fun. With that said as well, if you're not interested in playing but would love to see it, it will of course be streamed live on both Twitch and YouTube on the 29th, so go and enjoy it on your platform of choice and I guess support the stream, as it were. With that said, I think that's pretty much everything there. Mod links will be available, and this is a members first video, because as always, one of our member perks available on the Lemon Cake channel is going to be early sign up. So if ideas like campaigns like this are interesting to you, and you want to guarantee yourself basically a spot by signing up ahead of everyone else, then consider picking up a membership where you'll be able to have early access to these signups. And finally, before I let you all go, just a very little thing. The winner of this campaign, aka the person that actually unites Japan, will gain access to the Emperor of the Rising Sun role. So that's, you know, something to play for. With that said, that is all I have time for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.